If I play
This
with
is
the
how dumb.
timings,
No, this is how dumb you
I'm
are.
super smart,
This
man.
is how dumb he
I'm
is.
the first YouTuber, pound for pound, #1 in the world. Yes, here,
He's getting angry.
look at me, man.
I'll whoop both your ass on the same night.
It's gonna be a good fight.
Put both the Chavezes in there. I'll whoop Senior and Junior.
Trash talk. He was talking to your father and all that. And so I was wondering if you felt disrespected or upset about anything that he said in the press conference.
Yes.
During a recent media appearance, Jake Paul caused a stir by confidently claiming he could defeat both Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. and his father, Chavez Sr., in one night. That didn't go over well with Chavez Jr., who swiftly clapped back, reminding Jake he was already a champion when Jake was still a child. The exchange escalated quickly, creating hype ahead of what's now expected to be a fiery and emotional showdown.
Campeón, dile.
When you were born, I was already a champ.
There's two things you can't beat. There's two things you can't beat. Me and your drug addiction.
Well, Julio, you
Get it right, bro.
have had
Get
your
it right.
struggles in recent years.
Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. responded strongly, saying he feels the public is behind him and that fans are eager to see Jake Paul humbled. He emphasized that people are tired of Jake's loudmouth style and constant antics and now want someone to silence him in the ring once and for all.
People say, I like Jake Paul. Oh, I hate Jake Paul. I don't like him. Beat him. Put back him in the internet, YouTube. So I'm feel the support of everybody, man.
You think there's any chance this man can beat you?
Not a shot in hell. There's nothing he does that can offset anything I'm gonna do to him. Not a single thing. Cardio, pace, output, jabs, body work, inside fighting, wherever the fight goes, however the fight goes, he's gonna be outworked in every single round.
Speaking to Ariel Helwani, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. expressed feeling deeply disrespected by Jake Paul's comments at the press event, especially those involving his legendary father. He admitted that trash talk is part of the business, but Jake crossed a line. Julio said he always respected Jake, but never got it back, making this feel personal and not just promotional.
To try to enter to a real boxing, you know, is why he started me, because I'm ex-world champion. So he speak too much trash, you know, and try to sell the fight, but I don't like hear that things, you know, like, I don't know, Jake is good for that, you know, for promote fights and these things, but I really want to find out if it's good in boxing, for real.
So a lot of people who have fought Jake have tried to sort of, as I said, end Jake Paul, like end all of this. They don't like that he's in boxing. Is that a motivation for you to knock him out so that he says, I don't want to do this anymore, so you could be the one to say you got Jake Paul out of fighting?
Yes, so that's, you know, I'm still thinking that I'm better than Jake Paul, so I think after this fight, maybe Jake continue to fight. I don't know, try to be a best boxer, but I don't think he have skills and everything for win that fight. Yes, I want to end the Jake Paul career. I want to end.
What do you think it will say about you at this stage of your career? 39, you've been fighting for so long, you know, 60 fights, all that stuff. If you beat Jake Paul, what will that say about who Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is right now?
You know, I want to put clear that I'm still here.
Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. approaches this fight with the mindset of someone raised in the sport. Unlike Jake Paul's typical opponents, Julio isn't transitioning from another discipline or returning from retirement. He's been a boxer since youth and has lived in the gym. While Jake feeds off internet buzz, Julio represents real boxing, grit, skill, and focus. He's fighting not just to win, but to prove what true boxing is all about.
You know, for me, like when I lost with Anderson Silva, but I'm out of shape. So these things, like the fight with Silva and a couple other fights, make the UFC fighters or the other people thinking then this guy can beat like a real boxers. So I don't think that is not possible, you know, because when you are a real boxer, you train right. It's different, you know, different sport, you know. You in boxing you need to do in point, to win rounds. And UFC, you're only thinking and I don't know, kill the other guy, you know. So it's different. So I'm very excited. I'm training very hard to prove that I'm much better fighter than Jake Paul. So and of course better than Phil.
At a press event, when asked if Jake Paul could handle someone like Canelo Alvarez, Julio Jr. didn't hesitate. He stated the skill gap is massive and Jake wouldn't last against someone of Canelo's caliber. He views any comparison between Jake and Canelo as unrealistic hype that disrespects seasoned boxers who've paid their dues.
I don't think he have a chance with Canelo.
Obviously, Jake was scheduled to fight Canelo, and then it did fell through. How do you think that fight would have gone? Do you think he would have been in some big trouble?
No, I think Canelo is much better than him, you know. He's not the same level, so that's why I say that my career is different than his career, because I don't think he have a chance with Canelo.
Live, only on DAZN, June 28th. Jake Paul versus Chavez Jr. Buy now at DAZN.com/boxing.
Fighter Rolando Rolly Romero also gave Chavez Jr. his respect, noting that Julio has faced elite fighters Jake probably couldn't even name in boxing. That kind of peer respect means a lot. It reflects true experience. Julio has been in big fights under bright lights for him. This isn't just hype. It's part of his long boxing road. Rolly's words underscored Julio's deep edge over Jake.
He's fighting a legend's son.
Real deals. How do you think he does?
Who's been in the ring with a bunch of other legends. I mean, Chavez fought Canelo. He fought a bunch of people.
People got to see more, you know. People don't want to give it to him. Just coming where he's come from.
Yeah.
But if other boxers co-sign him as a real fighter, that's a good testament. That's a good sign.
Bro, he's fighting Chavez Jr. I don't care.
Yeah.
But he's fighting a real fighter. He's fighting a legend's son.
Real deals. How do you think he does?
Who's been in the ring with a bunch of other legends. I mean, Chavez fought Canelo. He fought a bunch of people.
But how do you think Jake does in that fight?
What weigh's the fight at? Cruiser?
No idea. 65? What?
I don't even know. I don't pay attention to it, to be honest with you.
I don't think Jake Paul can make 65 ever. So.
Nah, hell no. Jake Paul is like a good 220 pounds naturally.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
165.
How tall is he?
Jake Paul trains hard, bro. He's a very intelligent person. You guys think he's a fucking bimbo? He's very fucking intelligent.
Yeah, he's definitely a beast, and he's definitely a monster with marketing.
No, not even the marketing, bro. He's a very intelligent person.
Yeah, you could tell by what he's doing.
Yeah.
Jake Paul carries himself confidently, always claiming he's revolutionizing boxing and drawing eyes back to the sport. He believes boxing had gone stale, and that he's the one shaking it up. Though many bash him, Jake thinks their criticism proves he's making an impact. But for fighters like Julio, Jake's approach ignores what boxing is built on: dedication, tradition, and hard-earned respect.
When you say that, what does that mean to you to protect the sport?
Well, for me, I feel like I'm the only one doing it. Everyone else is just trying to gatekeep or say that they're doing things for the sport or something is bad for boxing, but I'm the greatest thing to happen to boxing since Muhammad Ali, and there's no even debating that. And what I've done speaks for itself. No other fighter is building gyms, getting boxing gloves into the hands of kids, throwing multiple events a year, donating my whole entire purse back into my own charity when I fought in Puerto Rico, taking women from getting paid $1,000 to 5, 6, 7 million, breaking Netflix records, shutting down the site, 128 million global viewers, The list goes on, and I've done this in only 12 fights, where Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, Floyd Mayweather, Marvin Hagler, like you could name any of these people, fought nobodies for their first 15 to 20 fights, and no one even knew who they were. And so my career has been different, heavily criticized from the start, but that's the mark and the sign of someone who's a disruptor and someone who's changing the game.
Boxing icon Oscar De La Hoya has shown genuine interest in this bout, mostly because it marks Jake's first match against a seasoned pro. Julio's pedigree brings the level of seriousness fans have been asking for. De La Hoya isn't just excited by the drama, he sees it as Jake's true entry into professional boxing. With Julio's resume, the fight carries real stakes now.
I'm really excited because the only reason I got involved with this is because he's fighting a real fighter now. Julio Cesar Chavez went 12 rounds with Canelo. He is an ex-world champion in boxing. So this is a real legit fight. I'm looking forward to it. I'm obviously questioning what Chavez Jr. will we see. Will he be in great shape? Will he not be in shape? Will he make weight? Will he do a lot of questions behind it? But ultimately, you have to tell yourself, Jake Paul, congratulations. This is a real first legitimate world champion fighter you're fighting.
Critics have brought up Julio's age, suggesting he may be past his peak, but that misses key facts. Julio never left boxing or took long breaks. He's remained active, kept in shape, and still trains like a top-level athlete, unlike Jake's past opponents, many retired or from other sports. Julio remains sharp and truly embedded in boxing's daily grind.
Word on the grapevine is that Jake Paul will be fighting Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. in his upcoming fight. That is apparently going to be announced very, very soon. Now, this is actually quite a interesting one, really. Jake's going to get a lot of stick for this. It is another retired fighter. However, this is a guy that realistically has only been retired for about 4 years. He also isn't a 60-year-old Mike Tyson. Chavez Jr. is only 39 years old. The last notable fight, realistically, for Chavez Jr. was Danny Jacobs. That was back at the back end of 2019. So you could say that realistically, the guy hasn't been fighting top competitors for about 5.5 years or so. The thing that does worry me just a little bit is that Chavez Jr. was pretty much fighting at middleweight during his, let's say, prime. And no doubt that this fight will be at cruiserweight, if not heavyweight. So good on Jake Paul for fighting someone who is semi-recently retired this time, and he's actually a boxer and not an MMA fighter. But again, shame on Jake Paul for fighting someone who is considerably smaller and will likely want them to balloon up to cruiserweight. Maybe even heavyweight if Jake's sticking at this thing of he's a heavyweight now. Let me know in the comments, will you watch this if it's on Netflix and it doesn't cost any more money like the Mike Tyson fight did? Are you interested? Should Jake Paul be taking on more active professional boxers nowadays, not someone who has been retired for 4 or 5 years? I'm interested to know your opinions. Also, will this fight actually get made? Let me know in the comments. As always, like, favourite, save and a share, all appreciated. And if you want to be kept up to date with everything boxing, hit that follow button. Peace out.
Doubt has long surrounded Jake's matches. His fight with Tyson sparked speculation that it was more hype than real competition now. Fans are raising similar questions about Julio. Some think it's another money move, not a true contest. There's no solid proof, but Jake's pattern of facing aging or unusual opponents keeps fans skeptical. Still, with pride on the line, both need to deliver.
You can't make this shit up. Guys, Jake Paul fights this weekend at the same time as UFC 317. And don't be shocked, but it's another scam. This time it's against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who's 39 years old, hasn't fought in a year, and lost a boxing match to Anderson Silva, who's not even a fucking boxer and 50 years old. You guys have to know the drill by now. Take Jake Paul, minus 650, throw him in parlays, take him straight, lay the line, he's not losing. This shit's hilarious, a flat out joke, a disgrace, but free cash is free cash. I'm not watching a second of this fight. A second. I'm just gonna watch my bets turn green and get paid out. Do yourself a favor and get paid out too. Jake Paul, minus 650. Free as the air you breathe.
Jake's entering this fight with full belief in his training and mission. He views this match as a true opportunity to prove he belongs in boxing. At the same time, he sees it as a test for Julio, a way to see if he's still relevant in today's sport. Jake's faith excites his supporters. One point he holds onto is beating Silva, who once beat Julio. But fights aren't math equations, and wins don't always carry over. Still, the comparison gives Jake a mental boost.
What do you think about when you see some of these matches? Like, didn't they just have Jake Paul was gonna fight
Tyson?
What do you think about that shit, man?
It's fucking crazy, isn't it?
It's fucking dumb, I think.
Like, well, what are you expecting? What do you think the outcome's gonna be?
Well, I think...
Because I thought that Jake Paul would have lost by now, even fighting these guys at some stage, but he keeps winning. Like, I know that they're not, like, in their prime or whatever, but the whole background was fighting.
That's a good point.
And he keeps, like, somehow pulling it out. Like, if he pulls this one out, I don't care how old Mike Tyson gets. I'm not even fighting that guy until... Because he actually sat down on my show. He's fucking crazy.
Really?
Yeah. Like, I felt I would not fight. Even if he's 70 years old, I'm not fighting him.
What, he just felt like he had that danger in him?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I asked him, what would you be if you weren't a boxer? He said, a fucking criminal. Like, stone cold my eyes. And I'm like, okay, nice.
Jake's clash with Tyson felt more like a show than a true challenge. Tyson hadn't fought in years, which made things easier. Julio, however, is a different kind of threat. He's younger than Tyson, sharper, faster, and still fighting regularly. Julio brings real danger, not just a famous face, but an active and skilled opponent still in fighting form.
Jake Paul just went against Anderson Silva last night, and it was crazy. They was going back and forth. But in the 8th round, Jake Paul dropped Anderson Silva. It was a crazy back and forth war, but I feel that's what gave him the dub. Jake Paul walks away with the unanimous decision victory. The judges scored the scorecard 77-74, 78-73, and 78-73. Jake Paul advances to 6-0 in his professional boxing career. This was insane. He then goes on to call out Nate Diaz. What do you think is going to happen with that? It's crazy with this. Everybody and their mom was doubting Jake Paul back and forth. But now, when he beats Anderson Silva, what do you think he's going to do to Nate Diaz? No disrespect, but he's a much younger fighter. He's getting better every day, every night. And who knows? He might walk away with a W. Tune in next time.
Jake Paul continues to split the boxing world. His supporters love the buzz and energy he brings, while purists still doubt his intent to them. Jake's path looks more like a TV storyline than a legitimate boxing career. Facing Julio might finally change that. If Jake wins decisively, critics may reconsider. But if the event feels staged again, those same voices will only grow louder.
My final what's that smell goes to Jake friggin' Paul. Yes, as he's gearing up for his upcoming fight against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., a guy that can't win a fight, hasn't won a fight in the last 10 years. The guy's been an absolute joke. Well, Jake comes out and says, hey, listen, I'm getting in the ring with a champion at one point. I'm getting in the ring with a guy that was on top of the world at one point. All Jake Paul is selling is at one point, because Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. hasn't won in more than 10 years of those points. What are you trying to sell? Here's what I think he's trying to sell. He's trying to sell a fight that means nothing. Jake Paul, he's great on the HBO special thing, the documentary that he has, The Pauls. He's great at everything he touches when it comes to marketing. Stop trying to sell something that doesn't exist. You will never get into a ring with a real boxer, because if you do, you're going to get your ass whipped.